Good evening. It is Thursday, 7 o'clock. Welcome to Urban Facts. I'm Eamon Hotep.
I'm Amaiyah Parker.
All right. So today we will be closing out Black History Month with a presentation by Miss Amaiyah-Monet Parker. She is a college student. She's also Ambriel's sister, my daughter. She's studying abroad in Greece, and she was given this Black History presentation in Greece, in the school that she attends. So, but before we do that, Ambriel, I sent you a email about Hattie McDaniel. Ambriel's going to give you some information in regards to Miss Hattie McDaniel. Today, she was the first Black actor, excuse me, slash actress to receive an Oscar. So we will definitely be discussing that today. Her accomplishments. Actually, Miss Bronson, the actress from Abbott Elementary, I think her name is Quadera or something like that, I believe. She's was the second one. So without further ado, here's our Black History moment with Amber Parker. Did you get the information?
Oh yes, I got it now.
All right. So without further ado, here's our Black History moment.
Okay. On February 29th, 1940, Gone with the Wind is honored with 8 Oscars by American Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, an epic Southern romance set during the hard times of the Civil War. The movie swept the prestigious Best Picture Director, Screenplay, cinematography, art direction, film editing, and actress categories. However, the moment award that night undoubtedly went to Hattie McDaniel for her portrayal of Mammy, a household and former enslaved woman. McDaniel who won the Best Supporting Actress Academy Award, was the first African American woman actress or actor ever to be honored with an Oscar. Born in Wichita, Kansas in 1895, McDaniel demonstrated her talents as a singer and actress while growing up in Denver, Colorado. She left school while a teenager to become a performer in several traveling minstrel groups. In 1924, became one of the first African American women to sign on the U.S. radio. One of the onset of the Great Depression, she was forced to take work as a ladies' washroom attendant in Milwaukee Club. The club, which hired only white performers, eventually made an exception and let her sing, and she performed there for a year before setting her sights on Hollywood. Her most famous role was Mammy in 1939 film Gone with the Wind, directed by Victor Fleming and based on the best-selling Margaret Mitchell novel of the same name. The movie remains the highest-grossing movie of all time when inflation is taken onto account. Although she was honored with an Oscar, liberal African Americans sharply criticized McDaniel for accepting a role in which her character, a former slave, spoke non about the Old South. McDaniel's film career declined in late 1940s and 1947. She returned on radio as a star at the nationally broadcast The Ruth Show. In the program, she again portrayed an ever since Southern made, but in a markedly and unstereotypical manner that won the prize from NAACP. In 1951, while filming the first episodes of television version of the popular show, she had a heart attack. She recovered to do a few more radio programs, but in 1952 died of breast cancer at the age of 57.
All right. Thank you so much for your Black History moment. Um, what did you learn from this information, or did you already know about Hattie McDaniel before you did the research?
Well, I actually was learning about her in school, because I
Hmm.
had this presentation of Black History. We was walking around, we get to see who everybody is, and somebody was actually asked Hattie McDaniel today, and they told me some stuff about her. They did tell me that she was the first woman to receive a sort of African American woman to receive an Oscar. So I did know that, but I did not know about Oh, I did know that she died from breast cancer. I did know that, but I did not know about the that she was on the radio star. I did not know that her film Gone with the Wind was the reason why she received the award, and I didn't know that many people thought that she played a stereotypical role.
Yeah, she played a stereotypical role of what they called a mammy back in those days. So I thank you
Is
again.
that is that the thing that's on the syrup bottle, the Mammy?
Yeah, but that's what they Mrs. Butterworth or Aunt Jemima. That's the images that they displayed or depicted back in the days in slave times. Well, I think at that time they were slaves, and going with the wind is about, I'd say, probably like 3 hours. But in during the intermission, the South lost, and the slaves were freed. And when the show came back on after the intermission, it were slaves that stayed in the household. Miss McDaniel and another couple of slaves stayed on the plantation to help Scarlett, run the house. That's why the article stated that, excuse me, she was looked down on by a lot of blacks at that time for displaying a stereotypical slave, from the old South, because there was a lot of racial inequality at that time. So her and actors such as Stephen Fetchit were seen as, I would say, sellouts, due to the roles that they had. But back then, you had to, get the roles that you can get, or you wasn't working. So it wasn't like, um, Denzel Washington or the Halle Berrys of the day. Those actors had to get whatever they was offered. And she also played in, I want to say she played in, I can't even think of the name of the movie. It was done twice. Um, about this, well, the original one was this lady. She invented this pancake recipe. The remake was in regards to a woman. I think she was a seamstress or something like that. I can't remember the movie. It's a pretty well known movie. Well, not that known because I don't know it, but um I can't think of the name of it. But without further ado, we are going to go into the presentation. Amaya did a wonderful job in Greece educating these students in regards to Black History Month. So me and Ambria are going to get out of your way and present Amaya.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amaiyah, not
Amaiyah-Monet.
no. I'm just Amaiyah-Monet. Okay. Today, I will be talking to you guys about Black History Month. Hopefully, this starts like a tradition at ACT. Starting to like celebrate Black History Month. Of course, it's going to start small, and then hopefully over years it like gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Because in Europe they don't really recognize Black History Month because they think that it's an American thing, that Americans were the ones who enslaved Black people, and did those things to Black people, so they have no reason to recognize African American history as European history, and that's not true. European people played as much as an impact as white people in the United States or white people in America did in slavery and in the traumatic history of Black people as white people did in America. So that's why I brought this idea to the leaders at ACT. Hopefully it will continue. That's the plan. So, what is Black History Month? Black History Month started as Negro History Week by the father of Black History Month, Carter G. Woodson. And the week of February was chosen because Abraham Lincoln's birthday was in February, and he's going to sign the Emancipation Proclamation, which was supposed to free Black people, but it didn't. There was the South and the North, and it only freed Blacks in the North and parts of the South. And then Frederick Douglass' birthday is in February. He was one of the abolitionists whose work was so esteemed that it led to the freedom of many slaves during that period. So we have Negro History Week. Here's a little bit about Carter G. Woodson, the one who started Negro History Week. He's an esteemed scholar. He went to schools as Harvard and Howard University. He believed that the Eurocentric viewpoint on history would basically wash away the history and the truth and the credibility of colored people in general, and then Asians, Pacific Islanders, Middle Easterns, colored people in general, but he specifically focused on Black people due to the racism that was happening during that time. And he founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History in order to exemplify into a more so like the history of Black people, because that wasn't really happening during that time. So a lot of things contributed to Black History, Negro History Week turning to a month. A lot of the civil unrest in the 1960s, it started with the death of Emmett Till. In the 1950s, it started the Civil Rights Movement, which led up into the 1970s Black Power movement. And with the aggression of the Black Power movement, it led President Gerald Ford to sign in 1976 Black History Month as a national holiday. And each year there's a theme, and this year's theme is African Americans in the arts, which is one of my favorites. So, now we have the arts. Black authors. During the Harlem Renaissance, there was a spike in Black authors. The first known Black author, a person to have their work published, was Phyllis Wheatley, and she was a poet, enslaved poet. However, poetry from Black people rose to fame with many poets like Langston Hughes, Maya Angelou, Toni Morrison. Here are some of my favorite books written by Black authors. If you want to take a picture, you can. I'm telling you, they're really good. You probably won't be able to find them here, but when you go back home, they're there. Toni Morrison is in the library here, and this book, The Fire Next Time, by James Baldwin, is here as well. Next, we have Black musicians. Black musicians have paved the way for musicians in general. Due to their variety of different styles and genres, a lot of people have found inspiration from Black music, and not just Black American music, but different cultures from Africa as well. George W. Johnson, Washington, was the first African American to record commercially. He was actually enslaved when he wrote this song, but the Laughing Song became so popular, and he set way for many Black people to make music, such as these right here. These are some of the most best-selling albums of all time. A little bit about Carter G. Woodson, the one who started Negro History Week. He's an esteemed scholar. He went to schools as Harvard and Howard University. He believed that the Eurocentric a lot of the civil unrest in the 1960s, it started with the death of Emmett Till. In the 1950s, it started the Civil Rights Movement, which led up into the 1970s Black Power movement. And with the aggression of the Black Power movement, it led President Gerald Ford to sign in 1976 Black History Month as a national holiday. And each year there's a theme, and this year's theme is African Americans in the arts, which is one of my favorites. So, now we have the arts. Black authors. During the Harlem Renaissance, there was a spike in Black authors. The first known Black author, a person to have their work published, was Phyllis Wheatley, and she was a poet, enslaved poet.
However, poetry from Black people rose to fame with many poets like Langston Hughes, Maya Angelou, Toni Morrison. Here are some of my favorite books written by Black authors. If you want to take a picture, you can. I'm telling you, they're really good. You probably won't be able to find them here, but like when you go back home, they're there. Toni Morrison is in the library here, and this book, The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin, is here as well. Next we have Black musicians. Black musicians have paved the way for musicians in general due to their variety of different styles and genres. A lot of people have found inspiration from Black music, and not just Black American music, but different cultures from Africa as well. George W. Johnson, Washington, was the first African American to record commercially. He was actually enslaved when he wrote this song, but the Latin song became so popular, and he set way for many Black people to make music, such as these right here. These are some of the most best-selling albums of all time in Black artists and all time in general. Michael Jackson actually topped most of them, but I didn't want to just include Michael Jackson. But Michael Jackson is a pioneer in Black music history because of him, a lot of Black musicians are now featured on TV because he was the first Black person to be featured, had his music videos featured on. Hi everybody. I'm Amaiyah, not
Amaiyah-Monet.
No, I'm just Amaiyah-Monet. Okay. Today, I will be talking to you guys about Black History Month. Hopefully this starts like a tradition at ECT, starting to like celebrate Black History Month. Of course, it's going to start.
I'm sorry, we're having a break in the video. Let me correct this and get you guys back on track.
A lot of Black musicians are now featured on TV because he was the first Black person to be featured, had his music videos featured on MTV, which made a way for many others. Next we have Black actors. The first African American to win an Oscar was Hattie McDaniel. She won an Oscar for her role of Mamie in Gone with the Wind. A lot of white people liked this role because it was very synonymous with the way that their Mamie was to them. So her acting was very true to the culture that they resided with, as well as the grandmothers and mothers that Black people knew for themselves. Here are some of the best-selling movies written and directed and produced by Black people. They're really good, trust me. And my favorite is Wait Until You Excel, which is why it's the biggest. Now we have Black artists, as well as with Black authors. Black art became really huge during the Harlem Renaissance as well. Black art in general became really big in the Harlem Renaissance. So it was a way for Black people to express themselves. And during slavery, Black people would often draw because they couldn't write. They didn't know how to write. They weren't taught to. So another way to express themselves was through art and through different characters and symbols, different styles and patterns, such as braiding. Braiding was an art form that was used to express themselves during slavery. So this is Cara Walker. She is a Black woman, painter, sculptor, artist in general, and her work is, to me and to others, many critics believe that is very renowned because of the way that she uses her naked eye to present the modern world. She paints on different canvases, not just paper, not just like posters and things of that sort. She paints on the walls, she paints on chairs, different things of that sort, and her work is an expression of her identity as a Black woman. And I chose to exemplify her because she symbols what a lot of Black people did during this time. A lot of their work was an expression of their identity, as most artists in general, but it's very important because for a long time their identity was something that they couldn't hold on to, so now they can. And here's my favorite personally, because I'm a dancer, black dancers. So black dancers, black dance is also an expression form, and it comes from inspiration of many different cultures, and black dance in general has inspired many different other forms of people, especially K-pop, and I can't remember the other one, but I know that K-pop for sure has been inspired by black dance, with Janet Jackson and Michael Jackson being the two most inspirational people for it. And for this one, I have a dance by Alvin Ailey. He's a black choreographer who has paved the way for many choreographers because of his use of history and culture in his dances and the way that he uses them to tell a story. Many choreographers have been inspired by his work, and this is one of his most famous dances ever, and it has been used by many people, shaped and twisted in different types of forms in order to tell the black story. Dance has been something that black people have not been able to take part of, professionally dancing, especially ballet, which is why Misty Copeland came to fame. She was the first black ballerina in the New York Ballet, the American Association of Ballerinas, and she also made it a very good example, a prime example of why it's important to have ballet shoes as the same color as the skin, and making a wide variety of ballet shoes instead of just making them pink. Because when you're on point, it's supposed to be disguised as your foot. And when you are darker skinned and you're wearing that pink shoe, you stand out. Which is why many choreographers, besides racism, did not choose black dancers, because when they would put on the pink point shoe, their black skin would contrast with the pink point shoe. And instead of putting them in the front or making them the lead for these roles, even though they could have had 10 times more credibility compared to their peers, they would be sat down or put into the back just because of the point shoes and many different other reasons. So, this dance for you guys is by Alvin Ailey. I don't know how to make it bigger.
So, Amaiyah's video was just ended. Thank you, Amaiyah, for showing us that video. I'm waiting for my dad to come back.
Yes. Definitely good job, Maya. Sorry about that. She did an excellent job. We had some issues with the video. I'm not quite sure what was what was happening, but we definitely will edit that. Get the corrected video out, put it on the foundation's Facebook page for you guys to view. As Amaiyah said, Black history comes in many different forms, shapes, and sizes. You can go from the arts to dance. I mean, that's also considered the arts. Film, music. There's a lot of heavy hitters out there in our culture, and you definitely have to know. Well, it would behoove you to know this to help you get a better identity of who you are as a person. Now, you might say something like, well, how is knowing who Hattie McDaniel is going to help me become a better person? In actuality, it's not really going to affect you like in regards to a career, not unless you're a history teacher. But to know that information is crucial. And I used to teach Amaiyah and her sisters, about Black history. I was a Temple student and I majored in African American studies, and I didn't think it was robbery to teach these ladies about their culture. We gonna test Ambrielle right now and see if she remember. So at the time that this was happening, Ambrielle was like probably 3. So the only thing that I would ask her that I thought that she could remember is this one word, and it meant Egypt. So we gonna see if Ambrielle can remember. So what you got, Bray? What was that word?
I have 2 words in mind. It's starting with it's like Kemet or Kit.
Kemet, yep. So Kemet is Egypt. So back in biblical times, they really didn't have an exact term for Egypt. They called it Kemet, and they really didn't identify with it. Africa didn't even really have a name back then. It was just, I think they considered Africa, the whole continent as Ethiopia or Kemet, and that's how they identified blacks back then. But her knowing, well, them, all 3 of them, knowing their culture has advanced and helped them academically to get into different spaces. So I actually would have to walk back what I said, because if it wasn't for Amaiyah's knowledge of her culture, she wouldn't be in Greece now. I mean, not only just that, but teaching Black history in Greece. So that's a great accomplishment for a Black female to be presenting such treasure to another culture. So it's always important to know where you're from. We want to do this announcement also before we leave. So the show will be ending kind of early. We were trying to get the great grandniece of Harriet Tubman. So we're in the works of that, trying to make that happen for you guys. In the meanwhile, we will be preparing for this this focus group here. So this is Amaiyah, AJ, and Jada Smith. So it's Amaiyah-Monet Parker, AJ Evans, and Jada Smith. And they will be doing a college focus group on August 15th. August 15th. So they will be giving information in regards to college life, what else is on there? I gotta pull it up. High school prep, financial aid, school selection, and studying abroad. So you don't want to miss that. So speaking of college, um, I know in mastery, the classrooms have different college themes. So from your experience of being a mastery student, what college have you been looking at, Ambria?
Um, from the classrooms that I've been in, a lot of them do have like they do HBCUs for like
Mhm.
yeah their theme. I've been in one that had Howard, um, and then it was one that had Spelman, and also been in one that had Morehouse, and I don't remember what my advisory teachers is, but I think it was either it was something. I think it was Cheney. Yeah, it was Cheney, and then I've been in also Lincoln University. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what college are you looking at to in regards to attending?
Um, I'm not sure yet because I just got accepted into high school, so what I was focusing on was high school. But
Mhm.
um, I do want to go to HBCU. That's what I do know. I do want to go there, but I'm not sure which one because there are so many. I don't just want to go to the
Right.
typical Howard. I want to go to like all other type of HBCUs.
Well, I can tell you that being as though you at least have a consideration of it, you are ahead of the game in regards to a lot of other students in middle school transition and high school. As I tell a lot of youth, um, your college or at least career expectations should start at least when you're in first grade, so you can have an idea of, what do you want to do when you grow up. You guys, all three of you guys have y'all careers kind of planned out or at least a target in regards to, what do you want to be. And in 12th grade, it's a lot of 12th graders going into college and they have no clue. And that's one of the reasons why some 12th graders don't go to college because they have no clue in regards to what to do. So the parents that's listening, you have to initiate your child's future. Some of you might have older kids or teenagers, and it's not too late to do that now. And it's just a simple question of like what do you want to be? I believe Ambrielle, you want to be a film director, correct? Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Yes.
didn't hear your mic was okay. Um, and Amaya, she wants to be an attorney, and Amani wants to be a philanthropist, focusing on dance and owning her own business. So, um, with that in mind, all three of them have a pathway to heading towards a target in the future. So that's definitely important. So that'll be it for us. Now let's Ambriel, you got something.
Got something to say? Um, no, not really. Is there anything that happened today in the news about the boy whose parents were whose parents murdered him? Is there anything updated about that? Did they end up going to jail? I did want to know about that.
Well, the parents did were they did go, they were arrested and then they were sent to jail. They were charged with Damari's murder, and they just didn't have like a good story in regards to like whatever happened to him. And it was sad because the mom, some believe she was influenced by the boyfriend in regards to what happened to Damari. But as a parent, you can't let the final straw be, hey, I'm gonna kill my kid because I'm trying to make somebody else happy. I was just talking about him today. He didn't have a chance to be anything. Like I just said, in regards to initiating your child's future, I'm sure in that type of environment, nobody asked him what he would have, what he wanted to be when he got older. I mean, I would be surprised if that did happen. Um, but now he can't be anything. He can't even be properly funeralized because they don't even know where his body is at. And when you get to the point where you're considering killing your child, I think that's the point that you have to consider, like, hey, somebody else ought to take this mantle, because I'm not at that point to where as though I can be a proper parent. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not about to justify killing a child at all. But parenting is hard and it can be stressful. But it does not equate to murder. So you can't kill your child because your boyfriend or girlfriend is tired of your kid screaming or whatever. That's part of the game. You have to do better as a parent to ensure the best likelihood of your child. And when you do get to the point where though murder is an option, now you are now a social injustice to your own community and your own family. Because now you're not even giving your own child the opportunity to see opportunities out there in the world. Such as being a dancer or special schools. Amaya was talking about dance. She was talking about music. Like these are opportunities that Damari will never see. So, just to rehash on your question, the mom and the boyfriend were charged with his murder and his body wasn't found as of yet. So, but next week we will have question and answer session. So we'll be reaching out to youth. It's gonna be question and answers in regards to the mission of the foundation, the cultural and academic empowerment of youth and the services that we provide to the community. But we'll probably be more focused on one topic, so it could be more centralized. So we'll definitely post that sometime this week, and get your questions ready. We'll provide an email where you can send the questions to, and you know, we'll definitely be ready. Hopefully, we can get a large outpouring of questions. If that's the case, that would be wonderful. So that's it for us tonight, and I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Ambrielle, you do a great job as usual. And you guys have a wonderful night. God bless and good night.